No sirens, no voices, just the wind and the things that come with it.
I Am Legend 2 is an upcoming American post-apocalyptic science fiction film and a sequel to the 2007 hit I Am Legend. The story is expected to continue from the film's alternate ending, which was later confirmed as canon, where Dr. Robert Neville survives and realizes the Darkseekers are intelligent, emotional beings rather than mindless monsters. Will Smith is set to reprise his role as Neville, alongside Michael B. Jordan in a newly introduced character whose role is rumored to be connected to a surviving human settlement. The sequel is expected to explore a more complex world where humans and Darkseekers coexist in a fragile balance, focusing on themes of survival, redemption, morality, and what it truly means to be a legend in a broken world. Rather than centering purely on action, the film is said to expand the emotional and philosophical depth of the franchise, examining Neville's past actions and humanity's responsibility for the global collapse. Still in development, I Am Legend 2 has generated strong anticipation due to its revised narrative direction and the return of Will Smith to one of his most iconic roles. April 2008 down here in South Texas, I'm occasionally drawn unawares into conversations with congregants of the Evangelical Cornerstone Church, whose flock is herded by Pastor John Hadji. Before I can brush off their proselytizing with a terse, "You're barking up the wrong tree," I worship sent. Thomas Aquinas and statues of Mary. I am inevitably informed about the impending end of the world and its attendant second coming of one Christ, Jesus H. Invariably, the Left Behind post-apocalyptic book series is recommended for my edification and salvation. Sorry, but the closest thing to the rapture I'm eagerly awaiting is the pending second coming of Led Zeppelin. What's up with all this hysteria about the four horsemen drawing nigh anyway? And are adherents to this viewpoint really the kind of people you'd want to be hanging around if, and when it all goes up in smoke? Can you imagine being subjected for the rest of your days to the bipolar histrionics of talk radio blowhard Michael Savage, or to that Mr. Rogers on Thorazine environmental doomsayer, Al Gore? I'd sooner play a few rounds of High Bob, while popping Demerols with shots of tequila. Disclaimer: do not attempt. The only way to tough it out through the ultimate hard times is with an ironclad American action hero at your side. Someone who can stay focused and optimistic while everyone and everything is going to pieces all around him. In the 1980s heyday of the action genre, it was Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and Willis. Today, Will Smith is the movie-going public's hero of choice, having saved the day time and again in flicks such as Independence Day, Men in Black, and I, Robot. Their prototype was square-jawed Charlton Heston, who enjoyed a cinematic second wind starring in sci-fi and disaster action pictures. Whether it was rescuing us from a San Andreas fault getting fidgety, or from mystery meat TV dinners, or from plummeting Boeings, or from damned dirty apes, you could always rely on Chuck Heston. Given Hollywood's penchant for remakes, perhaps it was inevitable that Smith would soon step into Heston's shoes. He does so in the latest screen adaptation of the short novel I Am Legend, written by sci-fi/fantasy icon Richard Matheson. The Incredible Shrinking Man, Duel, and many Twilight Zone and Star Trek episodes. I say latest because while director Francis Lawrence's version is a remake of Heston's 1971 sci-fi cult classic The Omega Man, this is actually the third time that Matheson's story about the last survivor of a deadly plague has been translated to the big screen. The first, 1964's The Last Man on Earth, starred B-movie idol Vincent Price in what was probably the version closest to Matheson's dark novel. Ironically, Matheson was dissatisfied with how his work was altered by the producers, had his name pulled from that project, and was listed in the credits under the pseudonym Logan Swanson. I Am Legend opens blithely enough, with a morning show TV host interviewing scientist Dr. Alice Crippen, Emma Thompson, in an uncredited cameo. Crippen self-assuredly discusses her cure for cancer, genetically engineering the measles virus to attack only undifferentiated cancer cells, thus leaving healthy cells and body organs alone. Cut to a title, 3 years later. Cut again to downtown and midtown Manhattan. The capital of the world has become a ghost town, and the hollow rush of the wind echoes between the walls of the vacated skyscrapers. As the camera pans across an abandoned, decaying Times Square, the soft chirping of crickets and the twitching of grasshoppers accentuate the desolation. Dr. Crippen's cure-all virus has mutated, wiping out virtually all of humanity. The handful of survivors went through bizarre mutations, degenerating into a zombie race of living dead called Dark Seekers. They're basically your standard-issue zombie horde, howling, spitting, and lurching like animated gargoyles possessed with superhuman speed and agility. They reminded me of another human mutant, Slugger Barry Bonds, albeit transformed into a psychopathic cannibal with bad cases of vitiligo and rabies. U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Robert Neville Smith is the sole immune survivor in the city that never sleeps. As fortune would have it, however, he's a military virologist who stayed behind in his fortified Washington Square flat to search for a cure at the Ground Zero, a September 11 reference of the infection. Neville cruises the empty Manhattan streets by day in a Ford Mustang, with a sniper rifle at the ready in case of attack from zombies and escaped zoo carnivores, poorly inserted into the film's frames via CGI. At Neville's side is his sole companion, Samantha, a German shepherd who accompanies him as he methodically goes door to door searching for uninfected survivors and scavenging for canned food. Neville carries on constant one-sided conversations with Sam, providing this grim movie's few moments of comic relief. Mankind's sole hope broadcasts radio messages to survivors to meet him each noon at the South Street Seaport, at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge's remains. Alas, no one ever shows up. Bereft of human companionship, he kibitzes with the mannequins that populate a video rental store. Although he wisecracks in these imaginary conversations with the same cynical sense of humor as when talking to his dog, Neville betrays his inescapable loneliness as he approaches a chic female mannequin. "Please say hello to me," he whimpers. As with his radio transmissions, his plea goes unanswered. His ghoulish daily routine, springing traps for zombies, hauling them back to his laboratory, experimenting on them in search of a cure, is a lot like combat veterans' description of warfare, long periods of boredom punctuated by moments of sheer terror. Yet Neville shows great resolve despite the utter horror and hopelessness of his situation. As he attempts and fails to hit upon a cure again and again, he still holds onto a shred of hope, repeating like a mantra, "I can still fix this. I'm not going to let this happen." Smith simultaneously projects undying determination and a troubling sense of desperation as convincingly as he did in The Pursuit of Happiness. Throughout most of the narrative, the zombies remain out of sight, but never out of mind. Although I had a lot of problems with the unevenness of the CGI effects, especially with the herds of deer running effortlessly over asphalt. Director Lawrence and production designer Naomi Shohan give viewers a New York City, whose familiar landmarks make it all the more eerie. When Neville is hoisted on his own petard in front of an empty Grand Central Station, it seems completely real, and therefore, real frightening. The unconscious man comes to as the last rays of sunlight recede from the pavement. It's unsafe to be out at night, for that's when the zombies and their stalking dogs come out to play. Though Neville dispatches the rabid beasts, Sam is bitten in the harrowing attack and becomes infected. What happens next, I won't reveal. Comparisons with the Omega Man are inevitable, and in many ways the 1971 movie had something more for everybody. Including sex, it had a pretty racy, for its time, cocktail-induced coupling of Chuck Heston and black actress Rosalind Cash, featuring what has been billed erroneously as the first interracial screen kiss, in reality, that happened 6 years prior, between Sidney Poitier and Elizabeth Hartman in A Patch of Blue. I enjoyed the zombies in the Heston version a lot more as well. Most disappointing, the screenwriters of I Am Legend stripped the story of its theme, the conflict between the man of mind and the tribal collective. Heston's Robert Neville was a scientist whose reason was depicted as a threat to the goth zombies. The latter were led by the charismatic Matthias Anthony Zerbe, a preacher of death and doom, whose blindly obedient minions called themselves the Family, a contemporary allusion to Charles Manson's gang. In a show trial, they persecute Neville for bringing light into their new dark ages. Matthias condemns him as a symbol of scientific progress, reproaching him for the invention of the wheel and weaponry. That movie had a lot of food for thought to chew on. In I Am Legend, however, we are fed only generic CGI zombies with the reflexes of leopards, spitting like rabid dogs. The abstract theme vanishes, leaving merely a tale of physical confrontation between Will Smith and killer zombies. What rescues it is Smith's portrayal of a scientist who uses the power of his mind to reverse the ravages unleashed on mankind by misguided technology. Man is portrayed as savior from his own sins, and thus the film becomes a powerful tale of hope and redemption. Whereas the Omega Man made for better entertainment, I Am Legend is better crafted. Although it's darker, it also has tighter focus and narration. It forces the burden of carrying the movie squarely onto Will Smith, and he shoulders it well. He takes Heston's role as the last man on Earth and makes it his own. Literally and figuratively, I Am Legend is a one-man show. The show has been done better, but by evoking a wide emotional range not usually seen in action flicks, Will Smith elevates this rendition to one still worth watching. Will Smith is a bona fide movie star, and you don't get to become a movie star if you're not multifaceted. Smith's career is one that clearly demonstrates his versatility, and then some. He's got a physicality and swagger that lends itself easily to an action film lead, as seen in the Bad Boys franchise as well as movies like Suicide Squad and Bright. He has the emotional depth and soulfulness to take on a variety of dramatic roles, as in King Richard, The Pursuit of Happiness, Ollie, and 6 Degrees of Separation. He also has a natural comic timing, honed during his years starring on the wildly successful sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which crops up in many of his performances, but has also led to winning leading roles in the rom-com Hitch and Disney live-action remake Aladdin. Despite his considerable range and his continued appeal, Smith has one genre above them all to thank the most for his career, and that's science fiction. Smith's appearances in sci-fi movies aren't just examples of the actor at the peak of his stardom. They're all notable, and in most cases, essential examples of the genre itself. It's Smith's well-rounded persona that makes him a great fit with a genre as malleable as sci-fi, as he's able to both delve into the headier aspects of the genre, while also providing enough down-to-earth irreverence to make these stories palpable for general audiences. No wonder the Wachowskis famously wanted him to lead The Matrix. There are about a dozen odd sci-fi films in which Smith has starred, meaning that fans of both the actor and the genre are spoiled for choice. What follows, then, are the cream of the crop, the movies that Smith infused with such indelible performances as to make them must-sees for a wide range of people. They're also, not coincidentally, some of the films that helped make Smith the star he became, too, proving that when it comes to Smith and sci-fi, the relationship is a truly symbiotic one. For years following its publication in 1950, Isaac Asimov's book, I, Robot, had languished in development hell, with numerous writers and filmmaking teams, including the likes of Harlan Ellison, trying and failing to adapt it into a major motion picture. Part of the problem is that the core tenets of Asimov's work especially the 3 laws of robotics, were so seminal that they had already seeped into a plethora of unrelated stories and projects by the time any movie version was getting ready to go. That's partially why 2004, I, Robot, is only suggested by the Asimov novel. In no way is it a direct adaptation, but instead honors just how influential Asimov's work had become based on the fact that this wholly unrelated movie could be heavily inspired by it. In essence, the Jeff Vinter/Akiva Goldsman script, directed with visual flair by a post-Dark City, Alex Proyas, is a riff on 1988 James Caan vehicle Alien Nation, with a cop protagonist who's prejudiced against robots being forced to team up with a robot named Sonny Alan Tudyk to try and figure out the cause behind a series of mysterious, robot-related murders. The detective, Del Spooner, is played by Smith with not just a great deal of integrity, but a level of specificity that helps bolster the character's relatable humanity. Sure, Converse may have paid for some product placement in the film, but Smith makes Spooner's love of the shoes a character trait, not just an awkward advert. The core premise of Gemini Man, a veteran military assassin discovers that a covert government program has cloned a version of his younger self for Black Ops purposes, is one that would be intriguing with just about any movie star, given how it exploits the public's relationship with them on screen as well as the actors' relationship with themselves. Indeed, Gemini Man was in development long enough that it shuffled through several possible leading men. Though since the project began life in the late 90s, the dual role of Henry Brogan and Jackson Jr. Brogan used to be thought of as a role for an older leading man, and his up-and-coming counterpart, a la The Devil's Own or Mission: Impossible Ghost Protocol. Instead, by the time Ang Lee took the reins of the movie in 2019, the filmmaker hit upon the novel idea of having Will Smith play both roles, with effects houses like Weta Digital and Park Road Post applying de-aging technology so Smith can appear as his younger self. This makes Gemini Man a film using de-aging tech that is deliberately having a conversation about the technology both within and without the film's narrative, following the previous milestone, 2010's Tron Legacy. It's a very meta, sci-fi concept, and as such, Smith is the perfect man for the job. What flaws the film has are more than made up for by this subtext. And while Gemini Man isn't the best sci-fi movie Smith stars in, it's certainly the most thought-provoking. Fans of Richard Matheson and his 1954 post-apocalyptic novel are well aware that I Am Legend has been adapted to the screen a handful of times, and while none of these versions can be called definitive translations of the novel, they're all fascinating in their own right, and worthy riffs on Matheson's core premise. Where 1964, The Last Man on Earth, took the story into gothic horror territory with Vincent Price, and 1971, The Omega Man was a gritty, Charlton Heston-led social commentary thriller, Francis Lawrence's 2007 adaptation gambled on making Smith, and his character of Dr. Robert Neville, the center of the film in a big way. In addition to Smith carrying the majority of the movie with aplomb, I Am Legend is yet another indication of Lawrence's prowess as a genre filmmaker, something he continued to prove soon after this with his multiple Hunger Games entries. Ultimately, what makes I Am Legend special is how it takes a story that had been done several times before and allows it to feel fresh and unique again, ironically ensuring that the source material continues to be, well, legendary. After Bad Boys, the jury was still out on whether Will Smith was a genuine movie star or simply a savvy sitcom actor who parlayed his charisma into a crowd-pleasing buddy cop movie. Independence Day was the film to put all that chatter to bed forever, for while other luminaries within the film's ensemble cast are beloved for their contributions to the movie, such as Jeff Goldblum's plucky computer nerd and Bill Pullman's rousing president, there's no question that Smith, playing Captain Stephen Hiller, dominates every scene he appears in. His presence is the vital component that makes the entire movie work as well as it does, where Pullman is vital for his earnestness and Goldblum makes the silly technobabble of the plot go down smoothly. Smith is the beating heart of a film that attempts to encapsulate the jingoistic spirit of the titular holiday without turning the movie into a polemic, which is no mean feat. In other hands, Independence Day could have felt like a thinly veiled treatise on American foreign policy. With Smith at the helm, it's a roller coaster. Stop the evil alien creatures ride that anyone from any nation can enjoy. And to think, he almost wasn't in it. This was the intention, of course, of director/co-writer Roland Emmerich and producer/co-writer Dean Devlin, to make a film which harkened back to both the 50s alien invasion B-movies and the 70s disaster film. If the movie is attempting to capitalize on any real-world allegory, it's the resurgence of UFO sightings and alien conspiracy theories, as well as the general apocalyptic ennui of the 1990s as the calendar approached the millennium. Independence Day is an earnest, pompous, fun-loving, knowingly cheesy ode to humanity's collective resilience and common interests, the apotheosis of the feel-good disaster movie. When an alien crash lands and Hiller's first impulse is to march right over to it and give it a sock in the jaw, it's entirely clear what kind of movie we're watching and that Smith knows it too. It's typical Hollywood math. Take what worked before, mix it up a little bit, and hope it works again. In the case of Men in Black, it's clear that some studio executives saw Will Smith plus aliens and figured that the two went together like peanut butter and chocolate the year before, so why not repeat the formula? The irony is that Men in Black is far from being any sort of Independence Day clone. On the contrary, it may be the anti-Independence Day, as it espouses continued diplomacy and charity between humanity and other species within the universe. Although the premise of the film, especially the title, is drawing from material like comic books, the movie based on Lowell Cunningham's series of the same name, and rampant conspiracy theories about secret government employees looking to cover up the existence of extraterrestrials. The world of Men in Black is one that keeps unfolding to discover new ideas. It is, for lack of a better comparison, the Star Trek to Independence Day's Star Wars. The joyous, insightful, satiric, and clever mixture of the film is due in large part to director Barry Sonnenfeld, who had just come off a pair of similarly insightful Addams Family films and Hollywood satire, Get Shorty, and writer Ed Solomon. He of the subversively optimistic Bill and Ted movies, who infuse Men in Black with just the right amounts of sweet and sour. That combo can be applied to the movie's leads, too. Tommy Lee Jones is grumpy, sarcastic perfection as Agent K, while Smith is all fish out of water, wide-eyed wonder as Agent J, the two men lending the increasingly wacky film a mooring that's much the same as one scene in Ghostbusters. Men in Black is a movie with a ton of ideas, heart, and wit within it, so much so that it spawned two sequels which, though they don't reach the heights of this film, remain worthy entries nonetheless. Smith's appearance in the movie is even more star-powered than ID4 had been. After all, this is the film that began his semi-tradition of recording an original song for each movie. And to think, he almost wasn't in this one too. What Men in Black does more than any other sci-fi movie Smith stars in is solidify the actor's power. When appearing in the genre, Will Smith is out of this world. Focus follows experienced con man Nikki Spurgeon, who takes Jess Barrett under his wings and teaches her the tricks of the trade. Nikki falls for Jess, but sends her away because of advice his father gave him about relationships with colleagues. The duo meet again when Nikki goes to meet another Mark. Nikki and Jess rekindle their relationship, and the rest of the story focuses on themes of love and betrayal. Whether the two can con the Mark, and if they end up together, make up for the crux of the story. Nikki's cool and stylish demeanor appears to have been made for Will Smith. After retiring from his job, Harry Brogan finds out that the last contract he assassinated was innocent. When he tries to find out more, a kill contract is issued against him. Harry fights and tries to find out what's going on when things get more difficult. A killer sent to kill him looks just like Harry. Will Smith portrays two roles, an aged, experienced killer and an innocent clone who is turned into a killer. Harry Brogan is an assassin who retires after he is tired of all the bloodshed, and Junior is the innocent clone who is pulled into the world of killers. 6 Degrees of Separation is inspired by the real-life story of a con man who convinced his marks that he was the son of Sidney Poitier. Will Smith plays the main character and con man, Paul. The movie marked Will's entry into Hollywood and came soon after The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ended. The scenes and the setting were reminiscent of the show, and his acting was a high point. Paul enters Flan and Uwisa Kittredge's house under the pretense of being a friend of their children and claiming to be the son of Sidney Poitier. The couple takes an instant liking to Paul and eventually lends him money. Soon after, Paul's mask cracks and his truth comes out into the open. Will Smith's portrayal of Captain Stephen Hiller in Independence Day is credited with making him a leading action hero in Hollywood. The movie focuses on an imminent alien invasion that Earth needs to defend itself from. One of the highlights of the movie was Smith's camaraderie with Jeff Goldblum, and their scenes were pure magic. Smith's portrayal of an African-American hero who saved the planet from aliens offered a representation unique at the time the movie was made. Before the counterattack on the mothership, Hiller marries his girlfriend and the President of the United States makes a rousing speech signifying the patriotic element. The Pursuit of Happiness tells the tale of a struggling father who is determined to do everything to provide for his son. Will Smith portrays the role of Chris Gardner beautifully and displays how the main character is so close to the end of his rope, but his determination ensures he keeps moving forward. The movie is based on the real-life story of a person who went from homelessness to a multi-million-dollar empire. It showcases the hardships of life that you can relate to and gives lessons to persevere through them to achieve success. The father and son relationship between Gardner and his son is also emphasized greatly. Dr. Robert Neville is the sole survivor after a virus that was meant to be the cure for cancer turned everyone into vampire-like creatures. Neville spends his days searching for a cure, hunting for food, and hoping to find other survivors. He finds that his blood might help the cure, but things won't be easy. I Am Legend brings out the more serious side of Will Smith and showcases how easily he portrays the role of the last human who's trying to save the infected. He perfectly portrays the character's struggle with having nobody and also his determination to find a cure. NYPD officer James Darrell Edwards III pursues an extraordinarily fast criminal, and before he can catch him, the criminal jumps off a rooftop. Edwards is reprimanded by his superiors because of the mishap. However, Agent K comes looking for him and recruits him for the Men in Black. The MI-B is a secret organization that monitors and polices alien life. Edwards aces the test and becomes Agent J of the Men in Black. The duo's first case follows an alien bug that crash lands in New York. Once they start investigating, they find out the case isn't small and has something to do with destroying an alien species, the Arquillians. The movie makes full use of Smith's comedic talents, and his partnership with Tommy Lee Jones is perfect. Will Smith was born to play the cool, savvy, and arrogant cop Mike Lowry. The story follows partners Mike and Marcus as they hunt criminals and close cases. The latest case has them investigating how $100 million of drugs they seized went missing from the vault. A witness comes forward, and she wants to talk to Mike, who is unavailable. The captain decides there is no choice but to make Marcus pretend to be Mike. The movie then takes you on a roller coaster of fun and comedic bits that have become usual for the Bad Boys series. That's not to say there isn't any action, as the duo shoots and fights as fast as they crack a hilarious joke. I Am Legend is a prime example of a great idea gone wrong in the hopes of pleasing everyone. What starts off as a compelling drama descends into a stock B-grade horror flick with some of the worst big-budget special effects of recent memory. It's really a shame, because Will Smith carries the film admirably, and the numerous shots of a desolate and vacated New York City are truly haunting. The film, adapted from Richard Matheson's novel of the same name, concerns the last man on Earth, scientist Robert Neville Smith. He has survived a deadly virus that wiped out the last of the population some 3 years back. He roams the city ruins by day with his dog, Sam, in the hopes of finding fellow survivors. Told in parallel form is the story of how the virus was born and the measures that were taken to quarantine it. I have been deliberately vague as my synopsis, just like the trailers, as there are some twists to be found. The overwhelming issue with the film is that the themes, of which there is nearly endless fascination, are completely lost in favor of awful CGI and cheap shocks. The notion of such a virus erupting from a miracle cure is hardly far-fetched, but the possibilities are sadly squandered. Director Francis Lawrence lays the atmosphere on thick and is very competent behind the camera. But what were screenwriters Mark Protosevich and Akiva Goldsman thinking when it came to the third act? The film does manage to tap into our fears of loneliness and the unknown in its first 2 acts, mostly due to the stellar set design and a handful of "how did they do that?" moments when it comes to an empty New York. Will Smith, who has no choice but to carry the film, steps up to the challenge. Neville experiences a broad spectrum of emotions, and Smith avoids turning the character into a superhero of sorts, while simultaneously steering clear of excessive sentimentality, always a challenge with an Akiva Goldsman script. As we become more familiar with his situation, the worse we feel for him. There are supporting players, including a fantastic performance from Sam the dog, but going into detail would reveal spoilers. I Am Legend is certainly a downer, but it could have been made more worthwhile had the screenwriters finished what they started instead of going all Resident Evil on us. There are aspects of the film to recommend, namely the incredible set design, but the experience on the whole isn't worth the overall effort. This is one of, if not the biggest blown opportunities of the year,